Hey guys, my name is Haley and today I'm going to be filming a tag video because I was tagged in some tags recently by some of my friends here on BookTube. So we're going to be doing I think it's called the My Life in Books tag today, which I was tagged to do by Oceana, so thank you Oceana. It's been a while since I've done a tag video. I think I just did one recently, but since like last year I think I've only done two, so we're just gonna get right on into it and straight into the questions. The first question is to find a book with each of your initials. And in the semblance of me not picking Harry Potter because both my first and last initial are H, I decided to pick some things that weren't Harry Potter. So for H, I decided to go with the Hamilton, or rather Hamilton the Revolution by Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jeremy McCarter, because I have to mention Hamilton because I'm going to see Hamilton in August because I just got tickets to go see it at Playhouse Square in my area, and I think I'm gonna have to reread this. So H. Then my middle initial is E, so I went with Aragon by Christopher Paolini. This is actually a series that I don't really talk about at all on my channel, but I think it's because I read it so long ago, and I've read it twice. And it was one of my favorites back in like middle school, high school, and then I think I read it right before I started my BookTube channel, or like a couple months before, so like 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, Aragon. And then for my last initial, which is another H, I went with House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. This book is incredible. I have talked about this one a lot actually because I read it recently, like the end of last year. And if you like horror, please read this because it is the only book that I've ever read that gave me nightmares. And like, not really bad nightmares, but enough for me, like I was having actual dreams and nightmares about this book because it's super creepy. The next question was to count your age along your bookshelf and talk about the book you land on. I'm 24. I counted from the top of my red shelf and it landed on Red Rising by Pierce Brown. So many of you know I do really like this original trilogy a lot, and it got so much better, but I actually really didn't love this first book. I gave this one a 3.5 stars, I think, and I just thought the pacing was kind of weird, and I didn't really like the school setting, and that's where it gets its comparison to Hunger Games, that it's kind of a Hunger Games school-ish setting, but it is very different and very sci-fi. But yeah, this one was just not one of my favorites of his, but I do really like his writing, even though I will tell you it takes a minute to get used to his writing, especially in this book, because it's just so fast-paced. Next is to pick a book set in your country, which I could have probably picked anything off of my contemporary shelf, but I decided to go with Stormfront by Jim Butcher. This is set in Chicago, and he is basically a cop, but he's a wizard, and he is a cop for the supernatural in Chicago, or the surrounding area. And the cops go to him for help when they think they have something that is supernatural on their hands. So I really like this series. I've only read the first two, and there's like a million books in it, but I'm very much looking forward to continuing. Next is to pick a book set in a place you want to visit, which I don't know which of these books, because in the series is set in the place I'm going to talk about, so I just picked a random one. So I picked up Soul Harvest, which is the 4th book in the Left Behind series, and I know at several points in the series they go to Israel, which is somewhere I really do want to visit for, you know, the biblical reasons, and I just think it would be really cool to go to the places that Jesus was, and that all of the people in the Bible were, and where they walked, and things they saw. So yeah, I went with Israel. Also, this is one of my favorite books in the Left Behind series, which I just really, really want to reread the series, especially since I just read the prequel series. Next is to pick a book with your favorite color on it, which I picked Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. Speaking of which, this book is incredible. But first of all, look at that pretty starry cover. Like, it looks really nice with a nice blue spine. But then You take the dust jacket off and it's even more beautiful. And I'm so happy that these have such pretty covers because the series is so good. And so fast-paced. If you're looking for something fast-paced, please pick these up. Next is To Name a Book with the Fondest Memories, which I can't not go with the Harry Potter book, so I went with Deathly Hallows, which I'm now realizing I apparently tabbed the last time I read it, and I don't remember doing that. So, surprise. But anyways, I got this book the night that it came out. I finished it like mid-morning the next day. I stayed up all night from midnight reading it. And it was just the best experience ever. And nothing has compared to it since, except maybe Cursed Child. We kind of did the same thing with Cursed Child, but it's kind of different. The next question is, which book did you have the hardest time reading? So I went with a book that I'm still having the hardest time reading, and I actually took it off of Goodreads because I didn't read it for a couple months. But I am going to pick it back up because that is the Alexander Hamilton biography by Ron Chernow. I got, let's see, 332 pages into this 800-some page book, tabbed it, so clearly I was enjoying it, or I was tabbing things that were mentioned in the musical in some way, and I stopped reading it for a while. I think I've had this for like a year and a half now, but I really want to finish it before I see Hamilton in August, so it's gonna happen. I'm gonna make it happen. I put the audiobook for it from Overdrive on my wish list, so I might do it via audiobook and see if that helps, but yeah. And the last question is, which books on your TBR will you feel the most accomplished for having read? One will be that Alexander Hamilton biography, but in the interest of picking a different book, I actually went with, oh, I can't even pick them up. I went with these by Brandon Sanderson, The Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, and Oathbringer, because which, if you just look at them, you'll know why. They're so heavy. This hurts so bad. But yeah, The Way of Kings series, or the Stormlight Archives. The Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson, because they're ginormous. So I think they speak for themselves, so why I will feel the most accomplished reading these. But yeah, that was the end of the tag. I think I'm actually gonna tag Jessi. I don't know, Jessi from Jessi Dawn. I don't know if Oceana tagged you or not. If she did, you've been tagged twice. But I would love to see you do this video. Thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys next time.